with you tonight, and welcome to the Bullpen of Doom, where we review because we care. Collaboration with the Bloodshed. So tonight I'm happy to bring you another great metal album review. It's actually the 9th installment in the Welcome to Quebec Metal City series. And tonight I'm talking about a band that in my opinion is really worth mentioning because, well, this band is actually from Quebec City, but some of the members of the band are spread around in the province. They're actually from Rimouski and Montreal. And well, the distance between Montreal and Quebec City is actually 300 kilometers, which is about 186.4 miles. So let me tell you something, a lot of mileage is driven for practice. And well, these guys, they practice every day, every week, and they're still alive and well, and a lot of bands would have suffered from such conditions, but these guys, they're defending their stuff and playing, and it's a passion, and I'm so impressed by that I really had to talk to you about this band. And it's a great band. It's actually a melodic death metal band, or melodic prog death metal band. That's something I still have to figure out. And well, this band is called Worth Dying For, and they have just released an album, well, a couple of times ago, but still, called Ashes and Tears, sorry. And this album is pretty great, so I wanted to talk to you about it. But first, there were some things I wanted to discuss with you guys, since I got a couple of emails asking me if I was going to start to review some more mainstream albums from bigger bands, well-known bands actually. And well, the answer is yes. I'm going to start reviewing some more mainstream albums, and I'm still going to continue reviewing my other albums, the ones that are more underground, from bands that send me their albums. I'm sure going to keep on doing that. But yeah, I'm going to start reviewing some more mainstream albums, and I'm going to start with next week's King Diamond week, because from Monday to Friday, every day I'm going to review one of King Diamond's albums, actually my 5 favorite albums. And because next Friday on the 17th, King Diamond is going to be in concert here in Montreal, and since it's a big event, because we thought he'd never go on tour ever again because he had a stroke or something, well, I'm pretty excited. It's a dream of mine to see him. I can't wait to go, and I'm going to review the show on here too, and so I'm going to review 5 King Diamond albums in the next week. So that's about it, and so here we go, and let's talk about the Ashes and Tears album by Worth Dying For. So, before we discuss the actual album, there's something I'd like to talk about actually, and it's band labels. What I mean by that is that, well, especially in metal, there are so much different subgenre of metals that we tend to label the bands in certain categories to make them fit, and to, let's say, like, direct fans toward what they like. And the question I want to ask you is, are you for band labels, or do you follow band labels? Like, if I tell you that this band is death metal, prog death metal, or whatever, are you gonna not buy it because it's death metal, or are you gonna be more interested in it because it's death metal or power metal or doom metal? This is really something I'm curious about, and I'd like to discuss that. So if you guys have an opinion, just hit me up in the comments and tell me what you think, because, well, actually, I'm not a big fan of doom metal, and every time it's doom metal, I'm not really attracted to it, and I don't really want to listen to it. But lately, there's a band that sent me their album. They're called Psychotic Gardening, and I reviewed the album a couple of months ago, and I was really surprised because this band has a lot of doom metal influences in their songs, but it's still a great album, and I think I gave them one of the greatest scores in the history of the Bloodshed. So I have to say that from now on, I think I'm not going to be that much influenced by labels, because, well, they're only labels. If the band is good, the band is good, but I want to have your opinion. I want to know if you guys are more into labels or just listening to the stuff, or just tell me, just let me know. I'd like to have a discussion with you guys about that. So if you have an opinion, write in the comments, and we're gonna discuss that for sure. That'd be great. So let's talk about Worth Dying For and their album Ashes and Tears. So the album opens with this song Hunted. It's a really great song, really interesting keyboard parts actually. I was really impressed with it, and the opening guitars are pretty great. I like the riffs. I like the main riff actually, it's pretty good. And the vocals and the guitars actually feels a lot like Disturbed. Which is why I'm not leaning toward death metal for this band, because they really sound like modern metal, like not new metal, but more modern than death metal or prog metal or whatever. And I'm really not agreeing with the prog metal part, because these guys aren't prog; they're melodic metal, and it's very thrash oriented. This song is really thrash oriented, which I like, because a lot of bands don't lean towards that, and it's a shame, because thrash metal has been a big part of the whole heavy metal scene. So it's pretty great actually that they managed to do that, and I think the keyboards in that song, and probably every song on this album, is probably the highlight of it, because the keyboards are always at the right place, always really great, and I really like it. So that's about it. The second song is called The Drawing of the Three, and well, it's a pretty interesting song. This is where they start using clean vocals, which, in my opinion, isn't helping the album at all. This guy has such a great guttural vocal that in my opinion, he shouldn't sing clean. He doesn't really have the voice for it. Often it's not on pitch, and it's not helping the album. But it's my opinion, and I'm ready to back it up. If you're not agreeing with it, it's okay. But in my opinion, it's not. He shouldn't do that, because it was pretty much annoying more than anything else. So I'd say more guttural vocals, less clean vocals, but still the song is great. Great guitars, great keyboards again, a lot of pounding bass, great drums, and that's about it. So I think it's still great song. So you'd have to listen to it and forge your own opinion, I guess. So the third song is called The Killing Sound, and it's actually my first favorite song on the album, because I got two, but this one is my first favorite song. It has great thrash-oriented guitars. I really like it, and they got great keyboards. Again, I think I'm gonna say it in every song, because the keyboards are really awesome. Great twin guitar harmonies, which I'm a sucker for. Put some harmonies in your songs if you got dual guitars. If you have dual lead guitars, do it, because it's such a great thing. I'm such a big Maiden fan, so I'm a sucker for those, and you get points just because of that when you're using twin guitar harmonies. Sorry, that's just so great, and it fits, and that's why this song is my first favorite song, because of the twin guitar harmonies and the great guitar solo. That's pretty great. So listen to that one. If you have a song to listen to on this album, I'd say The Killing Sound is the one. It's a really great song, and I really like it. Okay, so my second favorite song is another song called They Speak in Wavelength. And this one is a beauty to listen to, a real example of awesome songwriting. And the piano intro is just a delight to listen to. It's calming, it's such a beautiful part. And the lead guitar work is, again, out of this world, really cool. I really like it. And the rhythm guitars are great. You got twin guitars on there again, and that's about it. And the keyboard is in the background actually, but it still fits, and that's what I like, because when you got keyboards in the front, it's always some kind of lead thing, but this is just atmospheric, and it's such a great thing. I really like it because of that, and that's it. I think it's worth listening to. And I think it's their single, but I'd have to check. But it's still Another, if you have two songs to listen to on this album, it's those two. They're really great. But there's another, like, how can I say, duo of songs that is like aside from the album. They're called Of Glorious Remains Part 1, The Poison, and Part 2, Fading Lights. And these songs alone are worth the price of the album. I'm telling you, those are such great songs. And they actually feature producer and great all-around drummer Antoine Barry, who is a great drummer and a great sound engineer, and he actually produced the album and mixed it and at his own studio. So that's great to hear him again, because he didn't play much anymore. So that's pretty cool. And incendiary guitars again, great keyboards, and I really like the bass lines in that song, and the vocals are great. And what I like about that song is that they're not following each other. I think that it's got like 5 songs between them, which I think is cool, because you have like the first part, you like digest it, and then you have the last one that closes the album, which is pretty cool. It's a cool idea, and so that's about it, and that's it for the actual songs on the album. So we're gonna move to the execution and the production side of it. Okay, first of all, I want to point out that, well, the name of the album isn't Ashes and Tears, but Tears and Ashes. I'm sorry, guys. My damn dyslexia at it again. So let's talk about the production and execution side of Tears and Ashes by Worth Dying For. So, well, actually, this topic is probably where these guys are not gonna like me that much. Because it's not that the execution is bad. It's not bad at all. But, well, like I said, singer Dave Twiddle shouldn't sing clean because he has a great guttural voice, and his cleans aren't that right, and so often are not on pitch. So, and it really becomes annoying at some point. So, if I had one thing to say, or one advice to give the band, would be to maybe stop using those clean vocals, because it's not helping at all. It's really not. So that would be that's about it. But on the other hand, guitars are very well played, but they're often overshadowed by everything else, and that's not something that should happen, especially by keyboards. And keyboards get overshadowed by anything else, but I'll come back to that. But yeah, and especially on the lead side, this is where we lose the guitars often, and that shouldn't happen. Actually, leads are leads, and they should be in front and not like overshadowed by like bass or drums or vocals. If they're leads, they're leads. They should be there. So, and it often happens in metal albums, and that's something I think engineers should really think about when they mix the albums. But still, the playing is great, and I have nothing bad to say on that side. These guys, they're pros. They really know their instrument. They know their neck. It's really well played, and I really like it. On the bass hand, actually, right now, the bass is really present, and I really like it. And we don't lose it throughout the whole album, and that's something that is good, because usually bass is overshadowed, or isn't taken really with importance, and that's something that shouldn't happen. Basses are basses, and they're part of the rhythm section, and they're part of the backbone with the drums. So, and it doesn't happen on that album, and I'm really happy about that. And I have to mention it because sometimes, well, more than often, the bass is overshadowed, and I don't like that. You know me by now. Drums could be mixed a little better, and I'm surprised, because with Antoine Barry being a drummer, I thought he would mix the drums a little better than that, actually, because well, often they're too loud, or not loud enough, or there's not a balance between everything, and that's something I don't like. It's something that is really annoying at some point, because if you have to concentrate on the drums, you lose everything else, and you should not have to concentrate on the drums, actually. So that's something I really don't understand, because drums is the backbone. It has to be there. It has to be present. It's the time giver. So this is something I didn't get actually. It's really a question in my mind. I think if I see the band or see this guy, I'm probably gonna ask him because I don't understand. Anyway, keyboards now. Well, the keyboard, in my opinion, keyboards and pianos on this album is the highlight of every song. The playing is awesome. The songwriting is out of this world awesome, and it's really what made me listen to the album all the way through. I wanted to see what was next, what's going to happen next with the keyboards, and it's something that is really cool because I'm not that big a fan of keyboards and metal, but it really works, and it's with it being some kind of modern death prog melodic metal, it just fits, and it's awesome, and it's probably the only aspect that would make me fall on the prog side for this band, because everything else isn't prog at all, but the keyboards could send them that way. So but that's great work, and that's really cool. So well, I think we're at that point, so here's my quote. So the wiki seal of approval quote is 8.8 out of 10. The many production flaws and the fact that singer Dave Tweedle's vocals are some kind of annoying when he sings clean is what made this album lose some points. I'm sorry about that, but it's the truth. Well, actually, it's my opinion, and I'm there to give it. So, but it's not a bad album, and you really should take the time to listen to it. And it's not an album you can like do something else and listen to. You really have to sit down and concentrate on it, because I've listened to it in many situations, in many different areas, and doing something or not doing something or whatever. And I have to say that I appreciated it more when I was sitting down and just listening to it. So I think that should be that's what you should do if you want to listen to this album. At first, at least, you really have to give this album the time it deserves to appreciate it. But it's still a great album, and I think you should pick it out. It's Tears and Ashes by Worth Dying For, band from Quebec City. Well, with all that said, that's all for me, folks. And was Wikidom saying take care, good night, and stay metalheads. Cheers.